And there was like a point where I was like an intern that was paid $17 an hour, and literally I did nothing all day. I made $2,000 for that job for like over like a month and a half or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the meantime, I was playing $2, $4, and I made like $8,000 or something in that meantime. I forget what amount, but it was a lot more than what I made.
Significant. You're like,
in the internship, and that was the last time I had a real job.
And how old were you then?
I was 18, I think, and by the end of that year, I was playing 10-20, and it made like $100,000 or something like that.
And that was primarily live or online? That was online at this time.
That was all online. All this was online.
Okay.
I didn't play live poker really after the first period until I was like 20 or 21 years old. No, 20, a little bit 20 years old, I would say. I had 4 million, nearly 4 million on full tilt stuck.
Wow. And you're how old? So this is 2011. So this is 8. You're 21, 22?
I think it was 21 I think I was 21.
So you wake up, the government, you hear what happens, you log in, you don't know what's going to go on. You don't really freak out because you kind of think, well, these are major companies. These are like publicly traded big companies. Like, yeah, okay, maybe I can't play anymore. It's going to be annoying, or I have to figure something else out, but surely the money's going to just be put in, like sent to me, right? That's like your thought process.
Yeah. I thought it wouldn't be such a big deal, but I was like naive and whatever. I had no experience like this before. And I didn't being 21 and like growing up where college and whatever, like you don't really like know about too many like really bad things that actually happen.
Right. So at what point do you realize this could be a problem? Like, is it 2 days, 1 week, 1 month? I mean, at some point, obviously, it looks like it's a disaster, right? Like, it's like, wow, I might even just not ever get it. Is that, I forget the timeline on how it all happened. I know eventually, years later, you got sent, right? You did get paid.
Yeah.
PokerStars did buy Full Tilt. They did reimburse the balances. Full Tilt had some crazy shit going on where they were, crediting poker pros and didn't have the money on hand, and it was kind of a mess, obviously. But so talk me through that experience. Like, how did you feel? When did you realize this was an issue, a big problem?
I think maybe after like the middle of the World Series when nothing had still happened.
So middle of the World Series is like June, July 2011.
No, I must have realized it was a big deal. Something like that. When it took like a couple months that nothing had happened, or when like Phil Ivey threatened to sue Full Tilt or something like that.
Yeah.
The whole point of playing GTO. Okay, so I want to say a couple things that are more based on like the progress of strategy. Like what GTO is, you can solve GTO mathematically or whatever, but if two people play exploitatively and try to figure each other out, and they keep doing this to each other, and they're adjusting correctly, then you reach GTO. That's what GTO is. It's just them it's just like two people maximally exploiting each other as much as possible until they reach basically an equilibrium. So you could say, if he quote unquote figured me out and I just would have to, the next strategy would be for me to change my game or whatever, and like the ultimate result would be basically I would just play GTO, and he can't win. And
right.
I mean, we're far away from that, and
it sounds
he's already had 50,000 hands to fucking figure me out.
HUDs are gone. They cleared all the bots. Like, what do you think about that for poker and cash games? Do you think there could be a kickback up in cash?
I think a couple of things. I think there'll be some kind of kick. I think it's definitely moved in the right direction, and I also think it will prolong the longevity of poker, because part of what kills it is like too much competitive edge. Negating potential competitive edge, like by removing software and whatever. Definitely it equalizes the playing field a little bit, and I think I think longevity is one of the key. I think that is something that will happen more so than a kick. I think a little bit of a kick will happen, like guys will be less afraid to go and try online because they're not as worried about pros using all this crazy software and stuff like that.
Yeah.
While playing, but I think I think it's a little bit optimistic to imagine that the poker scene's gonna return to like. I mean, I don't think it'll be quite anything like the good days, unfortunately. But hopefully, I hope so. Maybe the U.S. market opens up and we get like a real poker boom or whatever. I think you need more things that kind of communicate that the everyday person can win. Like that's something. Like you got to keep the dream alive. If the dream's not alive, then no one pursues the dream if the dream's not alive.
Right.
When I'm raging on TV, I'm just I'm just legit totally raging. But I have been working on that quite a bit because occasionally I've had some bad behavior on the tables, like throwing cards and stuff like that. I've been meditating quite a lot. Actually, I should meditate more. It seems like it's had a pretty considerable effect lately. But it's hard to prove. But my behavior's gotten like a lot better since trying to work on that more actively. It has been a bit of a process. It wasn't like overnight. Stop throwing cards, and even now I throw cards occasionally. It like really fucking tilted sometimes. But
it's got to frustrate, right? Like like when stuff's just breaking so bad, or you're in such good spots, or you understand like a situation so well, and it's just like someone gets bailed out, or
it's more like it's not just that. It's more like, for example, like last winter, I was slowly losing $1 million over the week, and I'm listening to like another guy just gloat constantly, who I think's not who I'm not real. No one's really happy that he's winning for multiple reasons. It's just
I've heard of some of that. I know in Bobby's room there's some
like hours of that shit.
Yeah, there's someone too, like they'll complain when they lose a hand. They're up like a lot, and they'll like lose this one hand, and like people are stuck huge, and it's like they lose one hand. It's like they were ahead on, and they're winning and running hot, and they complain or something like that.
Yeah, that's let me think. There's certain things, like if someone's losing and they whine, it doesn't bother me much at all, actually. If someone does that and whines, depending on how they do it, it's like super fucking annoying.
Right.
Actually, I personally find gloating when winning really annoying, when I think that the person's just running really hot or whatever. I think sometimes I've like wondered, I think a lot of the times when I'm playing live, in the back of my head, I'm like kind of tracking the quality of the decisions against me. Actually, some VIPs are just totally like, soul, like just totally peered into my soul and really got me good. It's super random, like just it tilts me so hard when VIPs do that. I think, did I give up like a live tell or something? I do it live when I'm playing literally to like scan for live tells. I'm watching constantly, at least my own actions, to not give away live tells. I'm watching other people a bit too, but it's like mostly I'm more playing defense, I would say. Like I'm paying attention to how I'm shuffling the chips and how I put the chips into the pot. And
right. When did you kind of dive into like the tools of the game, or studying, or how did that come? I guess kind of tack onto that.
During all that time, I was studying things online and whatever. I was reading books. Like I read like Doyle Brunson's Super System.
You read the whole thing?
Not the whole thing, just the element parts. I read Phil Hellmuth's book first, actually, with the poker animals and all that stuff.
The poker animals?
Yeah, he talks about like the poker animals. Like there's like a lion and the mouse. The mouse who, like, if the mouse like squeaks, you wanna run away, or the elephant who like plays loose passive.
I have not seen that. That Hellmuth's actually going to be one of our podcast guys coming up. How would you? But there's so many things that are coming to mind. Real quickly, how would you rate like a Brunson Super System, which is sort of the Bible of poker, but obviously way long ago? How would you say some of those books, like Hellmuth's stuff, his literature, and Doyle Brunson's in these books? Like now, obviously, there's sites like Raise Your Edge, there's solvers, there's these all kinds of crazy stuff, which is where the game is today. But like for a beginner, was there any merit to reading some of these old literature, or is it just so outdated it would almost maybe put you in a bad spot?
Maybe it would be just to get like
a little bit of a history, or like a understanding of what.
It would be more entertaining than like trying to look at some simulations or something. Like if you were taking poker to a serious level, probably you'd want to study some simulations or something. If you're trying to like enjoy the process of learning a little bit more, I don't think simulations are going to appeal to many people. But that's like the real stuff, is like learning how to do that stuff. that where it's just all like the pure value of learning.